Hey, y'all, it's Corey here. Before we start the show, just wanted to remind y'all that me and Trae's new book, Round Here and Over Yonder, comes out September 19th. That is next week. You can still pre-order it right now by going to TraeCrowder.com. There's a button there, or CoreyRyanForrester.com. There's a button there. And when you get there, there's all sorts of options, and you can actually order it from an indie bookstore, which we would like if you did it, but we also want you to get it regardless of how you get it. We also narrate the audio. You're going to love it. Thank y'all. Round Here and Over Yonder, September 19th.
What's up? How y'all doing? Did y'all have a good 9/11, everybody?
No. I wanted Andy to have the baby on 9/11, and she didn't.
Would ensure you never forget the birthday.
And I was going to name it Freedom.
That would have been sweet.
Yeah. Freedom, spelled funny.
Yeah. EIGHDUM.
Yeah. What'd you say if you had twins?
North and South Tower.
Yeah, Morgan. North and South Tower Morgan. Yeah. Could kids share a middle name?
Why can't? They got a last name.
I guess they could, yeah.
If not, if there's a rule against it, I go Tower-Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tower
Osama?
Morgan. Only if it wasn't mine.
Osama. Right. Yeah, that's a little aggressive.
If it came out and it was
Osama bin Morgan, it
Osama
flows.
bin Morgan. That's funny.
That is funny. Dude, that'd be, come on. Imagine if he was good at something.
A white ginger kid named Osama bin Morgan.
And imagine he was good at anything. It could be bowling, and it'd be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars in ads from like, dickhead companies.
He plays for the Giants, but he was drafted by the Raiders naturally because it didn't work out. He's a defensive lineman. His name is Jihad Ward.
Jihad Ward.
Jihad Ward, spelled exactly the way that the word jihad is spelled.
Is that a wing of the Veterans Hospital?
Yeah, the Jihad Ward. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, jihad's only bad if you're on the receiving end of the jihad, obviously, and there's some jihads that we have supported, because jihad just means a religious beatdown, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm for it. Period.
Isn't it some kind of holy, like a holy?
That's what he's saying.
War?
Religious beatdown, holy war.
Yeah, I'm not cool with it either. I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, that is the Muslim way of saying it, but what I'm saying is that
if some Muslims jihad some worse for us Muslims than that jihad is.
Usually, no, what I meant was that by the definition of the word, there are some Christians who would be cool if we jihaded some people, which we've done in the name of the Lord.
Christians doing things they say Muslims do, but they don't like is a common trope with them. Yeah. I want to say of all the times we've done something that could be perceived as mildly offensive, I've never actually been scared, but I don't want to piss off the jihads.
No, me neither. No, Muhammad's cool with me, man.
Yeah.
And I can't draw.
No, he don't.
I can't draw
Taliban's back, though.
Taliban's back, yeah.
Taliban, Nirvana.
Running a whole country.
Smash Mouth died.
Yep. End of an era. Yeah, the Taliban, they're still in charge of Afghanistan, which, I mean, why wouldn't they be? What else would happen? But
20-year war.
It was funny. I still think it's so funny when there's you see the pictures of the Treasury Secretary of Afghanistan, and it's some Taliban dude who looks like he just walked out of the cave, sitting in a nice office at a desk with a computer, but holding an AK-47 and looking so confused, and it's I kind of didn't think they would make it this long because it just looked like they had no idea what they were doing. It's you can't stone every problem to death. Am I right? Sorry.
I have to believe because they've made it this long, the reason he looks confused is when the photographer got there, another dude gave him a gun and was like, listen, this is what we're going to do. Let me put some dirt on you and make you look like you came out of a cave for PR purposes.
Yeah.
And that's why he looks confused. I think he knows how to do accounting. I think it's the AR that's confusing him.
Yeah.
How many people do you think are still left from the OG? Because some of these dudes just signed one-day contracts. You know what I'm saying?
Huh? What? Oh,
they got 72 virgins for a one day.
How do they decide? This is a good 9/11 episode. How do they decide?
Poor.
Poor, but they're all poor, ain't they?
No.
Well, okay. I mean, I know that.
Osama bin Laden was
I know Osama bin Laden was a rich kid, which and I've said this to y'all before, but when I found that out, it was so funny to me and also disheartening because it's dude. Even the terrorist world is based on nepotism and rich privilege and shit. You know what I mean? It's even in that world, it's not a meritocracy. It's all about who you know and who your daddy is, even if you're trying to bring America to its knees.
Dude, imagine a dude in a cave pissed about this.
Yeah, you can't be on the come up, right? You can't start from nothing and be Osama bin Laden someday. You got
this is bullshit.
Yeah, right.
I put many years in hating America.
But it is like that. It is like they can't get a fair shake in the Hating America game because some rich kid America hater always jumps the line. You know, it's a universal truth.
Some poor kid invented killing infidels, and fucking Osama bin Laden just took it from him.
So yeah, you think it's just? Do you think it's poor or dumb or both? They can't be putting the vest on their hitting this guy.
No, it's desperate.
That don't make sense.
It's also think
you
about
think
who
it's kind of like how we used to send people to the army in World War II to like get out of a prison sentence sometimes, where it's like one of them does some shit and they're like, hey, we should stone you to death, but we will allow you to go blow yourself up in a building and not be publicly shamed.
We should not just talk about this when it's like easily verifiable, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm pretty sure it's not like that. It's not like the crime thing. It could be, but it's definitely like
an honor.
Your family will be honored.
Yeah.
You know, but then not if the whole band is blown up a week later.
Right.
Then your family just doesn't have a dad or that money that was supposed to be coming in.
What are they up to now? Did Trump take care of all that? Is that
the Taliban?
So. No, I know the Taliban's running Afghanistan. I mean, like I'm talking about Al Qaeda and ISIS and all them fellers. I feel like you ain't heard much out of them. Like, are they too busy running countries over there?
Also, do they hit for each other?
To be making internet videos? I don't know.
Buddy, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's going on in like
America,
Massachusetts now.
Right.
I have completely. I've done the opposite.
But you used to hear about them all the time. Now you don't. Right? I mean.
Well, they used to drop mixtapes all the time.
That's what I just said. I said they're too busy to go on the internet, you know, make one of their videos. Like, it's funny, I'm making fun of somebody for making a video. Me and the Taliban have that in common.
Yeah, well, you don't have a fly on your fucking face when you do it.
So, might as well have. I'm pretty sweaty, you know, sweaty and uncomfortable. It's not that far off.
ISIS and ISIL is just the Islamic State. So I don't think that's like saying, you know, did white supremacy go away, right? Am I stupid?
No, you're not stupid. I just think because the Klan, you know,
the Klan might be a better.
White supremacy's still here, but the Klan ain't as popular.
But they still around.
So, we're saying that like, you know, the terrorism game.
We're so stupid.
The terrorism game is like, so stupid.
It's just like, maybe it's like the Klan.
Nice, that Mr. Butt. No, that was a soundboard, Mr. Butt, wasn't it?
It was, but it felt good to put after us just diarrheaing out of our mouth about geopolitical things.
Well, I'm not done.
I'm trying to read it, still ain't helping me.
Nepotism and privilege, you know, that terrorism has that in common with Hollywood and other industries. Found another way in which terrorism and Hollywood have some overlap earlier. This will make sense in a minute, I hope. You ever heard of the Bojinka plot?
Mr. Bojinka
plot. The Bojinka plot, which sounds kind of minstrelly and racist, but it's a totally different.
I was going to say it sounds like a biscuit from New Orleans.
Yeah, right. It does. You're right, but it's not at all. It was a large-scale 3-phase terrorist attack planned in the mid-'90s by, you know, Al Qaeda and Osama's boys and all them fellers. And the plan included they were going to assassinate the Pope, blow up 11 airliners in flight from Asia to the United States, killing at least 4,000 passengers, shutting down air travel around the world, and crash a plane into the CIA headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. The Bojinka plot fell apart.
Good ideas.
Bojinka plot fell apart because it was uncovered by like somebody who worked for the Philippine Airlines because they were running some of their they were doing recon and shit over there on the plane parts, and somebody found them out, so it was uncovered and foiled. But elements of the Bojinka plot, including the plan to crash a plane into the CIA headquarters, would later be used by some of the same people as the basis for the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. So it's like a script in development hell for years is what I'm saying. Like, they were trying to get this off the ground for a long time. They trying to get this made, couldn't get a green light for the longest time. And it changed a lot over the years, but finally, you know.
And a rich prick came in and made it worse.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, if they could have done it the way they wanted to, they'd have really, really changed culture forever. But they had to bend towards the rich people, and it was a watered-down version.
The fact that...
And then ISIS and the Taliban was like when Wyatt Earp and Tombstone came out at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're both got people in it that kind of hit, but one of them's clearly better. Who is that?
So, the main element of this plot, like I said, was like first thing, priority number one, according to Wikipedia, was
the Pope?
Killing the Pope, which makes me think, like, why don't the Pope catch more heat from?
I don't think they're as powerful anymore.
Is that what it is? Because it's like it's all for America, death to America and whatever. But it's like they've been going at each other since the Crusades. Like you'd figured they'd have some sass for the Pope every now and then. But like
I think they got a little Pope sass, but I think for the most part, it's
why he rides around in that car.
It's almost like the most disrespectful thing you could do as ISIS to the Pope
is ignore him. Act like he don't hit. Yeah.
Yeah, man, he ain't shit James. You talking about Pope ain't shit James? You know what I mean?
Bro, speaking of popes and not being shit, I rewatched Spotlight the other night. Y'all seen that movie?
I still it's on my list,
movie?
but I haven't seen it. I just recently
Dude,
watched Doubt, which is about the same stuff.
It is so goddamn good. I watched it when it came out. I think it won Best Picture. At least got like best screenplay.
Is it better than that?
No, it's the old boy that.
I just showed Trae what you sent me.
Yeah,
it's not better than that. It's not better
than a video of a little person
playing golf, sprinting at some geese.
A fat little person trying to catch some geese who stole his golf ball, evidently. And again, never be funnier than that. Nothing I ever write or any of us ever write.
He's wearing my favorite color too.
It's just about all the kitty diddling that the church was up to, right?
Okay.
And where else? Boston was the epicenter of this because of all them Irish Catholic mix they got up there. And this is all true. The Boston Globe or one of the biggest Boston newspaper.
This is the biggest scandal that they've had.
Exactly. It was like the watershed moment that broke it all open. Was the biggest Boston newspaper had this expose about what the church was up to in Boston. Spotlight is the movie about that. It's not Spielberg, Corey. That's The Post. Totally different movie. Right. Somewhat similar. It's Tom McCarthy, I think is his name. He made Stillwater, the movie where Matt Damon plays old boy.
Dude, that poster is the most. It's like it feels like it's ironic.
I know. We're getting off track.
I know. It feels like it was in Tropic Thunder.
There's a whole old boy universe. They're not related, but right around the time Stillwater came out, Mark Wahlberg had a movie where he played old boy. Justin Timberlake played old boy in a movie.
Bradley Cooper had an old boy movie. He was the sniper dude.
Russell Crowe played a pissed off old boy.
Came out around then.
Is that the one where it's Road Rage based on Road Rage?
Yes, dude, but he's old boy in that.
The plot of that movie is insane.
I haven't seen it, but
I saw a clip of it on TikTok, which is the thing the kids are doing, and I had to go read about the plot. I mean, it's batshit insane.
Which one is this?
Russell Crowe plays a pissed off road raging old boy who's trying to kill a woman for cutting him off or something.
She cuts him off. He steals her cell phone and then learns about her life in an hour, I guess, to the point where now for the rest of the movie, he starts kidnapping her family and shit. It's crazy. It is the most cocaine fueled shit I've ever read about.
Does it hit?
I just read about it, but according to Rotten Tomatoes, no, it very does not.
What about the people? What'd the people say?
They didn't like it.
I don't.
I did both. Rotten Tomatoes has both, right?
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it's too low score.
Stillwater does hit though, for the record. This McCarthy guy, he's a longtime character actor who started writing and directing movies, beginning with Spotlight. Pretty sure that's how it went down. He's sort of Taylor Sheridan-y, but less cowboyish, and hits a little less, but he still hits. But anyway, Spotlight. I'm just saying, the Catholic Church.
On one.
They was really, really, really doing it. It's everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. I remember when I was in high school, there was joke. I remember my favorite joke when I was 14, which I'm sure everybody listening knows already, but it was what's the difference between acne and a Catholic priest? Acne won't come on a little boy's face until he's at least 13, right? So
I got one.
Okay. All right.
Now, this is anti-Semitic, but I'm still going to tell it anyway. So,
okay.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
A rabbi and a
He's
Catholic
trying to make
priest.
Asis not mad at us.
Yeah, but I say this is the 9/11 episode, so.
Yeah, a rabbi and a Catholic priest are sitting on a bench, and a little boy walks by, and the Catholic priest goes, "Hey, let's go fuck that kid," and the rabbi goes, "Out of what?"
Yeah, that's a classic right there. My point is, everybody knew it, and this Spotlight shit. It didn't happen until after I was out of not long after, but
the movie didn't, or the shit
the movie
it's about?
was 2015.
Okay,
but the shit it's about was that was after I was out of high school, but not that long after. It was like
03, right? 02?
It was the mid-aughts for sure.
We was all just puka shelling.
So it's
listen to Green Day.
Everybody knew it, but it was still wild when that came out, and it's because I mean, dude, it was something like
it was the Weinstein of the world.
In Boston alone, there was like 1,500.
I remember it being like one of those things where like the number's so big, it actually made it seem less worse somehow. Not like actually, but what I mean is like, you know, when they say steal $1 billion, don't ever steal 100 because then you get away with it kind of thing. It's like, it's almost like people's brains can't process what you're telling them. That 1,500, by the way, is that children or priests?
I can't remember.
It's children.
I think maybe. I don't know, dude. It's a lot. It's like a crazy, crazy amount that makes you go like, that don't even seem like that could be accurate.
Hey, Siri.
But it is.
How many kids in Boston were molested by Catholic priests?
See what Siri has to say. About it.
I wish you'd said all of them. Did you see that Barry Crimmins documentary? Call Me Lucky, that Bobcat Goldthwait did?
No, I remember that being a thing, but I never saw it.
It was incredible. It was so good. So Barry Crimmins was a stand-up comic who mostly did political stuff in the 80s and 90s. Was a contemporary of Bobcat and Dennis Miller and all those folks out of Boston. And he quit comedy. He said that he wanted to make a difference in the world, and he felt like getting people to laugh at political jokes was hurting, not helping. Because it gave people a reprieve. It made them feel like they had some control over it so they wouldn't change anything. And so he then just dedicated his life to exposing people who abused kids because it had happened to him and his brother by separate people.
Wow.
One a priest and one a babysitter. And so then he made it his mission, and he started going into chat rooms on AOL because he couldn't get anyone to listen to him. So he just went in there and posed as a pedophile and got all this information, and then went and testified before Congress and like changed the internet forever. Because I guess back then, first days of the internet, those folks could just gather in chat rooms and make, you know, really, really dark plans and share porn.
Weird this comes
up.
We
just talked about it.
We talked about this on POA, but like from I was laughing about it, but I literally just posted the clip this morning. I posted a clip where I had a realization recently while talking to Thompson.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him back in May. And we both were like, holy shit, but started laughing about it, which is not exactly what you're saying, but like we used to go in chat rooms all the time, right? Like all the time. We were like 13, 14, whatever. Yeah. And would have cyber sex with all these like teenage girls and stuff. You know, ASL, they'd say 17 female Cali every time, whatever. We're like, ooh, this is exciting. And we just get filthy with it. As an adult, you realize, like, those were all 50-year-old dudes who were jacking off while we were actively participating in it by, you know, describing our pubescent wieners in graphic detail and stuff like that. The pictures, I mean, that was, I can't remember if I ever did because, you know, I was fat and didn't.
I didn't. Yeah, because it would go against what I had described.
Exactly. Well, that too, we lied too, but we lied, said we were, you know, 17 or 18 and like hit harder than we did.
Well, the reason I asked is if you don't send pictures, no harm. They ought not be doing that, but I'd rather them be doing that than diddling a kid.
Well, yeah, easy.
Because I don't even mind.
I was about to say, I don't even mind. Like, I'm not mad at them, really. I just think it's funny. Like, I don't feel abused.
You know how
nothing.
they talk about...
I just think it's funny.
You know they talk about pedophiles who don't act on the urge are heroes, and then those who act upon the urge are the most despicable people on earth? This is the only person who's in between.
Yeah.
It's like almost a hero.
Yeah, right.
You had a good day. Now, if they ask for a picture, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Well, don't you think that all of them wanted eventually to get there? Like they were hoping they could talk to you again?
All right.
Well, of course, though, I don't remember anyone ever asking for my address or anything like that. But, like, you know,
are correct.
I was in and out because I would come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure. And then I'd leave.
To be clear, just like a slight mark of difference, I think what Crimmins was going into was places where they shared stuff.
Right. It wasn't like places chat rooms for pedophile, like a pedophile meetup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he exposed them and got a lot of people arrested. And anyway, it's a fucking wild and rad documentary. And it kind of put him back on the map, and he started doing comedy again. And we were supposed to interview him, if you recall, and he couldn't come because he got too tired. He had a late show, we had a late show, and then he died 2 weeks later.
Yep, was going to hang out with us. Mark of death for most.
Absolutely. Speaking of like getting too tired, and I'm not trying to just start, you know, jerking Dark Brandon off here or whatever, but it's been a talking point the past couple of days, and I just want to say, like, have y'all seen? He's been in Vietnam or whatever. Joe Biden has.
Oh, he went
He's
back.
also they're trying to impeach him right now.
That too, but like, well,
I don't be reading
for
nothing.
literally nothing. Like literally, there's no reason. But anyway, I'm not saying none of that. Yeah. But he God damn it.
I just keep showing him the video.
There was a thing that I saw Patton Oswalt shared earlier, and it's Peter Ducey on Fox News talking about how, like, well, you know, he has been working straight overnight Eastern time because he had a 14-hour flight to Vietnam. He did a press conference. He did this. He did that. He hopped straight on another flight, flew 5 hours to Thailand or whatever, then flew back to D.C., did all this stuff, and had all this shit back to back to back. And you could see Ducey realizing, like, oh shit, this don't fit our narrative that he's a senile old man or whatever else. But all I'm saying is, like, I'm 37. There's no way. No way I could do. I mean, if I had Air Force One, had a big ass bed on it, and you could pump me full of sleeping drugs
and B12 to wake you up,
but you have nobody helping you.
B12 to wake you up.
I was about to say,
like
that's what I was gonna say. Like, even his age, whatever. Like, they're putting stuff in him.
Maybe
right?
there's a double.
Like, yes.
And let's not put that out. Don't clip this, but maybe there's a double. Don't clip it because this will be the new Fox News thing. Maybe he's got a double.
Because I just don't. Because it's not the first time I've thought that. I've told this story, but when Al Gore came to my house to make an internet video with me that time, he came straight from Thailand.
Yeah.
Right, where he had done a thing.
Yeah.
Flew 14 hours, whatever. Landed LAX. Drove to that dude. That alone is the worst.
I have a theory.
Landing at LAX and driving to Burbank makes me want to shoot myself. He did that after some big ass climate conference and a 14-hour flight. Then got to Burbank from LAX, came straight to my house, did the video in one take. Right, went and changed into a tuxedo because the sun was going down, and went to some other shit after that. And I was just sitting there like,
I have a theory.
how the fuck? There's no way, dude. I'd be a zombie, bro.
If you had that many people, you'd be fine.
That's part of it, but I have a different theory too. Do you think that? Well, Al Gore. That's a perfect example. Do you think Al Gore's smarter than you?
Yeah.
Really?
Without question.
Yeah, dude. I'm really not very smart, but like,
I can't believe that.
I thought it was rhetorical, like for all of us.
Why
but
do you?
yeah, he's definitely
what
smarter
are you basing
than
it
Trey,
on?
too.
Why is Al Gore smart?
he invented the internet. He discovered global warming. Okay, I mean,
Lockbox.
give it up to my man.
I will give you. He's clearly smarter than you. I'll give you that.
I'm sure Republican politicians do all this.
I think that
hardcore
successful
shit too.
people, it's like athletes. Like, you can train your whole life, but you can't train and be LeBron James. You got to be 6'9", 260 with the twitch muscles of a soccer player. You know what I'm
Built
saying?
different, yeah.
I think there are physical aspects of some people who are successful in those worlds. I think they need less sleep. I think they heal quicker.
Right.
I think that their chemicals and their hormones are perfectly balanced, whereas other people's get out of whack. And, like, it helps that they were born rich, fed good food, had access to all this stuff. But even in that world, like, how many sons of producers who make it as actors have brothers and sisters? Chet Hanks is the one, you know what I mean? Like, even in the world of a privileged person who has the opportunity to become Al Gore, they don't all become Al Gore. Al Gore, for people who don't know, his dad was a politician.
Yes.
But a lot of politicians'
And he was
kids,
the vice president of the United States, for anyone further confused.
But my point is, like, a lot of politicians' kids don't become the vice president of the United States. They become Hunter Biden.
Right.
And there's numerous factors that could lead to that. But my point is, I do think that some people are built different, but in a way that we don't really quite know how to measure. I don't think Al Gore's any smarter than you. I think it's a ridiculous thing that you said that. I don't think Al Gore has done anything in his life to prove...
You fucking dumbass. You dumb piece of shit. Al Gore ain't smarter than you.
Well, what has he done in his life to make you think that he's hyper intelligent? But that aside, that's a separate thing from my point. My point is,
He's
like,
definitely pretty smart.
I'm not saying he's
like,
a dumbass by any means, but I am saying that he was born on third base.
Yeah.
And I just think some people are like, I think about it in comedy all the time, man. Some people can go on the road, not sleep that much, party, glad hand, improve their relationships with people, make connections, go out with fans, get their picture, come back, and still be funny the next day.
Right.
Early in the morning at an interview.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Dude, you're making a lot of sense, but also bumming me out, because I've had a lot of these same thoughts too before. Because it's like, dude, I walk around all the time thinking, like there's no way that everybody feels like this, right?
They don't.
And they don't. They feel
but
like...
most people do.
They feel like normal. It's like people that hit...
No, I think you're normal. I think people that hit feel
they
better.
They just don't. Yeah, right.
And Bert's a perfect example.
Bert's a great example.
Bert's very funny. He's not funnier than you. He's not funnier than you, Corey. But he has things that we don't have.
He's not funnier than you either, Drew.
Clearly. He clearly has things we don't have.
Yeah, I mean,
Mickey Mantle gene.
I mean, yeah, he ain't
He
wrong.
can be funny longer. You know what I mean? He can be funny first thing in the morning, hungover.
It is always funny.
Which in a way is funnier
age,
than us, I guess. I guess in a way because it's like volume-wise, too.
Yeah.
His age is the thing that blows my mind because I'm not sitting here saying that I was ever as funny as Bert Kreischer or anybody else. However, the things you're describing early on in the WellRED tour, I absolutely could do and did. You know what I mean? Like we would get drunk at the shows, have killer shows, and then I'd get up 6 a.m. for radio. I mean, not feeling good, but like could turn it on, do all this shit. And like, I kind of thought for a while, like, that's just who I am. And then I hit my 30s, and what happens to everyone in their 30s happened. And like, I can't fucking do that anymore. Now, granted, I got out of practice during the pandemic. Maybe it's that. Like, I had fine-tuned those muscles so much. But like, yeah, Bert's age thing. Like, when he was younger, it's what. But like, bruh, I mean, I'm with Trae. Like, I can't do that shit no more.
It's the Brady argument you guys always throw at me, too, where you say, okay, well, any given best Peyton Manning season versus any given Brady best season, that's super comparable. Easy to make an argument Manning's better, but then the volume has to come into play.
Right.
That's, I guess I do have
when
to
it
say,
counts.
Right. And I guess I have to say that Manning was always good when it counted. He just didn't have the team. But I guess I have to say that, like, it is funnier if you can do it in those scenarios. Like, I have to acknowledge, like, by a definition, there's more funny there. You know what I'm saying? When you talk to managers and agents out here, when they talk about somebody they're excited about, one of our managers said this to me about you early on. They were like, oh, he's special. Okay, why? They rarely say he's the funniest person I've ever seen. They talk about the things I'm talking about. And it's almost like, well, in the world we're discussing, funny is a given.
Yeah.
There ain't no untalented motherfuckers getting up at the Comedy Store. There's a few, but you understand what I'm saying.
Well, then there's another aspect of it, too, and I feel like, you know, as far as Bert goes, like him and Tom are boys, right? And I feel like Tom is not like that. He's not machine-like. He's more like us in terms of, like, he can't just go and go like that, but he's like... He got business sense, and like if you know what I mean. Like there's also guys that have that. There's
Trae has neither.
Andrew Schultz, exactly. That's my whole point.
Andrew Schultz, genius marketer.
I'm saying Andrew Schultz, Tom Segura, some of these other guys that they may not have the machine thing that Bert does or whatever, but they have this other thing that's like
Dane Cook had both.
They're good at the business part of show business, and that's also huge. And I just don't have either of those things. And again, it's so ironic because I have a literal MBA and still don't hit.
I think there are physical factors that we're not able to measure, and I do think you can improve them. I mean, it's not a coincidence that when any of us stop drinking, we become more productive.
100%. I mean, dude, my career changed forever because I'd been sober for 4 months. Like that. I mean, that's the only thing I attribute it to. Nothing. I didn't get funnier or nothing. I just was more productive because I was sober.
And then the sleep part of it.
Yep, that's huge.
I think about that all the time. Like, dude, that is like a scientifically documented fact that some people are like that. Some people just for whatever reason they don't understand why, but they just don't need as much sleep. And dude, might as well be a literal superpower as far as I'm concerned.
I would pick that if I could.
Me too. Some people, it's wasted. Sorry, I love him to death. He knows I love him, but like my Uncle Tim has that 100%. Uncle Tim stays up till 3 in the morning every night, wakes up at 7 every day. Right. No issues whatsoever. He just does. It's just like what his natural sleep rhythm is.
But he doesn't have like international ambitions. He has very like normal ambitions.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He could easily sleep. Like if he could give me that, it would be way better suited for me than for him. You know, because he could easily sleep. He's an old retired feller in Clay County.
Now.
He can sleep. So it's like wasted on him, and I'm just so jealous.
Do you think
of
he needed the energy to block all the hate?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. But I'm so
he had to run from a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of that.
Me too.
That one is like, that's the one that, like, if I could pick one, I'd pick that.
I don't need as much sleep as most people, so I don't want to like complain too much about it. I only need about 7, but I need 6 or 7. Do you know what I'm saying? Like below that, and like we're talking personality changes. We're talking energy levels.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were parts of the WellRED tour, guys, where like I don't really remember anything, and it absolutely affected my performance, not just on stage, but like who I was off stage. Like, what was I posting? What was I thinking about? What was I doing for my career? Nothing. I didn't have any fucking energy. I was truly exhausted, and I just think that some people can do it. The way that LeBron James can jump higher than most humans, some humans can just go.
Right.
And we live in a culture where they act like, well, you're talking about laziness, just decide to do it. I could decide to go do it. I wouldn't be as good.
Right.
I have forced myself to put stuff out, and it's not good.
Exactly. Well, that's where we're different than some people in some other industries. I think in some other industries you can force yourself to just keep showing up and keep doing the thing, but like we have to be funny or entertaining or captivating or whatever. And if you feel like abject shit, it's real hard to pull that off. So like you said, I used to have that argument with our old manager all the time about like, oh, I need to be making more stuff or whatever. And I'm like, if I just shit something out, it's not going to hit anyway. And I don't want to put a bunch of stuff out that don't hit.
Yeah.
You know, and in order to hit, I need to feel good.
That's why the second thing I would pick, the second thing I would pick, and Corey, you have this, is that sort of easy charm.
Absolutely.
Where, all right, I don't have the energy.
That's why he's he was always the in morning radio. It's like, oh, make a hit. I'm
right.
make them forget I'm here. Do your pig stuff.
Because if you can't be, because you said it, you made me think of it. All right, I can't be as funny. I'm not fresh. My brain's not quick. But I can be, but if I have that skill of being easy, likable, that's fine for a day or two. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be hilarious every day if you can be hilarious every 4 days and likable the other 3.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a huge advantage for me that like, because there's been some times that I know on morning radio, maybe I wasn't funny, but I was amenable, and said what, like I definitely feel like I leave rooms and people are like, that was fun. You know what I mean? Even if I wasn't like hitting punchlines, like that was fun. And I can do that. And I'll tell you, so much of that is because it's like a crutch for when I don't know if my brain's sharp enough to be funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, well, just fucking be in a good mood and like it'll be fine.
Well, all these things are grooves in our brain that we learned when we were younger, and that's why it's like wild how some of it's just kind of not dumb luck, but like you didn't know that the thing you were using as a coping mechanism when you were in 6th grade was going to make you this type of person in your industry or whatever. I feel like I actually feel like I'm pretty good on morning radio because I'm fresher in the morning. I've always wished the way I feel in the morning was how I felt at night because I am so much clearer headed that I would be. I genuinely think a 15 to 20% better comedian.
I mean, as y'all know,
I'm telling you, dude, well know, if we could do 11 a.m. shows, I'd be the best comedian on the planet.
As y'all know, I'm the complete opposite. I'm that Tyler Childers lyric. Late in the evening when the sun sinks low, that's about the time my rooster crows. I'm the opposite. I'm like a diesel engine.
I've tried to make myself that way, and I can't.
It takes me a while to even get. I'm not even really myself until like afternoon, and like definitely would not want to do a show before. But yeah, like the evening time and early night stuff. That's my part of the day, which is good for a comedian.
For sure.
But don't hit for the morning radio stuff.
Or the flights.
It don't hit for all the other stuff you have to do to promote yourself being a comedian.
Yes, that's
well,
true.
and most comedians have the goal of at least being able to dabble in television and film, and generally speaking, that's going to be an early morning call.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then you get there and just sit around all goddamn day. But
we went pretty inside baseball after starting off with ISIS. I don't know if that was my fault, but I have that theory. It doesn't just...
I was about to say it's not just about... Osama bin Laden got all that.
Yeah.
Or had all that.
Al Gore shot him. Al Gore,
guarantee you he does, dude.
Yeah, Al Gore clearly has that.
Yeah. I'm going to see Al Gore soon. I hope he don't hear this. If I can just putting him and Osama bin Laden right beside each other for no good reason.
Icons.
Both these guys hit.
Changed the world. And George Bush fucking beat him. But not really. This is what Republicans believe. Actually, they both beat George Bush, but Republicans won't ever admit that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if y'all saw this, but we all got tagged in a tweet the other day from one of our fans, and it actually took me a full day to realize why. It was this girl, she retweeted an old drill tweet and tagged us in it, and the drill tweet was something like, I would like to apologize for my earlier statements. No matter the case, you don't have to give it up for ISIS. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like one of those
Great
things.
Drill tweet.
And I was like, why is she tagging us in this? And then like a day later, I go, oh, it's because I said Osama bin Laden hit one time. You know?
Yeah, but is that you said this? She just tagged us in this?
Yeah, but she's like a longtime fan,
right? But I'm saying, was she digging through old shit? You said that like that's from a long time ago, right?
What I'm saying is, I think she just remembers it, like because if one of your favorite podcasters says that Osama bin Laden hit, you're probably going to remember that.
All right, this is so funny. Andy didn't know who Drill was for whatever reason, and we're in synchronicity today, boys. I just was reading her Drill tweets as she drove the other day. We had to leave the house for a few hours because we got it deep cleaned for the birth or whatever. Nice. And I just forgot how wild that dude is and how funny. And I think this is my favorite Drill tweet currently. It changes, so I just wanted to read it to you. This is my art. I am selling 6 beautiful, extremely ill white horses. They no longer recognize me as their father and are the burden of my life.
Drill is such a specific type of humor that
it's the only millennial art that is just for millennials.
Yeah, but you can't, like, I can't describe to I'm pretty good at being able to see an entertainer and go, this is what I think they do. This is why it works. I can't explain it with Drill, but it just works.
I think
you know what I mean? It's like bacon on a sandwich.
I think they satirize the sincerity of the internet in a way that no one else does. It's like, because it's like there's a melodramatic aspect to the way some people post like that. And the ISIS thing, got to correct my former stance, guys. It turns out.
But also think about this. Drill is like a total Twitter celebrity. None of us know who the fuck it is.
Well, he got doxxed, but here's the great thing about that. No one cared. Everyone was like, it was better when we didn't know who it was, because he didn't want to be doxxed. He writes, of course. I mean, he's in L.A. But because
doesn't promote his shit on his Twitter.
No, and also because he didn't want people to know who Drill is, because it's an art. He considers it a character that's like an art piece, and also it came first. So it wasn't like a Hollywood writer came up with it. He got to do Hollywood stuff because of it, which I think is cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does hit. Speaking of Hollywood stuff, I was watching Are
we really not going to talk about Aaron Rodgers for 2 seconds on 9/11?
Oh, I mean, sure, yeah.
My favorite one was Trae saying another jet went down on 9/11 or some version.
Yeah, and I did think of that, but again, I'm sure a million people have made that same.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, right, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the joke a couple times. This is the worst 9/11 that Jets fans have ever had. Yeah. And, like, for the record, for so many Jets fans, that is true. But I know this isn't a sports podcast, but I did just want to point out to the world and us, and not that y'all don't already know, that, like, if I needed to describe, if there's people that don't understand what we mean when we say that's so Raven, this is that. This is the best example of that.
For the Jets specifically.
For the Jets.
For the Jets as an organization.
For the Jets specifically.
It's not really Raven for Aaron Rodgers, but it's very Raven for the Jets.
That's true. He's had a pretty charmed fucking life.
This is a team.
Yeah.
This is a team that is responsible for the butt fumble. They fucking done. They didn't draft Dan Marino when they should have. They've done so many stupid things, and all their fans. This whole fucking year, all of their fans, like the whole world is like, hey, y'all got Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna be good, and all of their fans have been like, I'll believe it when I see it, and I'll be goddamned if this motherfucker, his whole Jets career is gonna be 0 for 1 pass. That's it.
They have one 4,000-yard passer in their history, and it's Joe Namath from when Joe Namath was there, which is like, that's incredible for him to have done that when he did that, like, in that era of the
not
NFL.
a passing league.
But it's also incredible that in all the years since it's become a passing league, that no one else has ever done it for them. But the Chicago Bears have literally never in their history had a single one, and they're not even close to it either. So,
but they've had a bunch of Super Bowls.
Yeah,
they've had.
They're like real strong defense and shit. Like, they've been a storied franchise. I mean, they ain't hit since I was born. But
85.
85. I was born in 86. But yeah. But the Jets are like, an exercise in futility, which I certainly understand as someone who follows the Raiders. But
to go back on the Ravens and not the team, what we were alluding to, I think it's helped me clarify what it means to me a little bit, which is when something so very expected happens
Right.
that it's actually unexpected. When
Right.
something so predictable happens that you would never predict it because it's too predictable for it to possibly be real.
It'd be like hacked to suggest that would happen or whatever, but yet it did happen. Yeah, it's just like extremely typical, that's what Raven is. But typical in a funny way,
Yeah.
Like
always negative.
Like, can you believe that?
This is about
You know what
right.
it is? I can't believe that I believe that.
Yeah, right.
I cannot believe that I am not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get that out there, Trey. I want to hear your old Hollywood thing, though.
It's not an old Hollywood thing. I was watching, I actually talked about it last week with you and Too Sharp briefly, that movie, The Northman.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought of while I was watching that. Yeah, it does hit. I'm not going to repeat everything I said last week, but it's like, I thought it'd be artsier, fartsier than it was, which I was, what's the word? I was apprehensive. I was apprehensive about, but then after I watched it, I was like, well, I thought it'd be a little artsier, fartsier than that. But it still does, hit though. But anyway, I was wondering, like, any Viking movie, any old Roman, old Sparta, any of that shit movie, these dudes are always like, just absolutely shredded all to fuck, right? And now back then they didn't eat refined sugars and stuff like that, and they didn't eat the garbage that we eat and whatnot.
They were all 5'7", which I think makes it easier.
Okay, see, but I'm saying
they didn't know what muscles to work out.
There's different arguments. There's like they didn't eat the trash they ate. They just ate fucking rabbit hearts and grain or whatever, and they did a lot of physical stuff. They trained, battled, and all this shit, but they didn't know anything about exercise science, what muscles do whatever.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, they said the Spartans. I mean, I don't know the Spartans.
We have a historical
Arnold
example.
revolutionized in the 80s.
Yeah, but that is to look like a bodybuilder.
So, like, how shredded were these guys is what I'm trying to get at.
The David is an actual person. So Michelangelo's statue of the David, that's an actual person.
He looked like that?
Yes. And but if you want to get shredded, and this is, Corey, you can have Robbie on, and Robbie's whole thing with Uncle Body.
Uncle Bod.
Yeah.
Go to UncleBod.com, use the promo code Buttercream, you get 10% off everything. Hey, ad, boom, snuck it in.
His whole thing is TUT, which is time under tension, which is why he stopped using weights and started using those bands. The absolute way to get shredded, not huge, but shredded, is to do slow body weight exercises. When you see those dudes at Muscle Beach in Venice, Muscle Beach has a weight section, but the biggest part of Muscle Beach is all these rings, ladders, pull-up bars, push-ups, dips. They're doing like 40 reps, body weight, slowly. That's what gets you shredded. Athletes, I feel like, have known that for a long time. Now, am I saying the Vikings cared about that, had time for that because they were not too busy whoring around? I don't know. But like even the martial arts, how long have martial arts been around?
Right. Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of years. Now, do they know how to get big traps? I'm not sure, but they didn't want big traps. But I think that they're athletes.
I guess
absolutely. Their warrior classes had muscles, dog.
Okay, but I guess I do mean like,
did they look like The Rock?
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
There's certain muscles that we only
Brad
just
Pitt in Fight
learned
Club.
how to work them out.
Right. Yes. I know that.
Or the world's strongest man, maybe.
They had a bunch of tone and definition, or some of them were these big burly motherfuckers. But I mean like absolute units with 6% body fat that are massive. Like, and that's like, I'm saying no one ever on Earth was that ever in all of human history until like Arnold in the 70s or something.
Arnold definitely changed it.
It's a recent. Like, that type of human being has only existed on this planet for like 50 years, right? That's what I'm really trying to get at.
Yes, and like, you're asking a question that's like, so some dudes, when they do those time under tension workouts, do look a little bodybuilder. And there's like old pictures of guys in the 20s who were like circus freaks or whatever, the world's strongman, and they were barrel-chested. But some of them had like big shoulders. Abs, I'm not so sure about. But
that's
other
what I'm
than
saying.
that,
they weren't ripped; they were strong.
But they had ripped people too, though. They're like, again, the David. I mean, that guy's fucking ripped, and he's got abs, right? He was an athlete. That's why Michelangelo chose him for his model, because he's a hot athlete. So those dudes definitely existed. I do think though there's like an evolution of standards that only like modern weightlifting, the internet,
supplements, steroids, all that shit that they didn't have
can lead to on on a mass scale.
Right.
But I think any given you wouldn't have a huge group of dudes looking like that, but I think there could be a couple because it's not. I'm thinking of a few things like giant biceps or giant traps. Yeah, you'd have to just work out those muscles, and no one would do that then. Why the fuck would they?
Right.
But again, I go back to the David. Like there were dudes who were beefy and shredded. They were just rarer.
Because it's just like, because I'm watching that movie and it's Alexander Skarsgård, right? A fucking Adonis, and he's huge and just ripped all the shit, half naked throughout the whole movie or whatever, murdering everybody, right? And you're sitting there watching like, God damn, imagine this motherfucker rolling up on your village, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, Vikings were absolutely terrifying either way, but like, did this motherfucker ever roll up on anybody's village and hit? Like, is it possible for that dude to have the craziest Viking berserker they ever had? Could he have touched Alexander Skarsgård's physique? Like, I don't think he'd have killed his ass.
I was going to say, like, Skarsgård's not that strong compared to those dudes.
That dude would absolutely wreck his shit. I know, but I'm talking about like aesthetically in terms of what he looks like or whatever. It just occurred. You know, I'd had a weed gummy and I was sitting there and I was like, imagine seeing that guy coming at you.
You're right, though.
But then I was like, but that guy never existed.
Let me
in
ask you
reality
this.
back then. Like, not that guy didn't.
I don't know if that guy would be as scary to you.
Yeah, right. Some big, like, looks like the mountain that rides, covered in blood and shit. And yeah, that would be scarier. Yeah.
You know, I think you'd be like, man, that guy's got weird veins. Well, anyway, gutted him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
No,
but you know what I'm saying?
I
think we've also trained ourselves to be afraid of that guy. But also, dude, look at NFL athletes. Like, some of them are trying to get abs because they want to be on the cover of sports. But for the most part, they're just working out to be in good shape.
Okay.
And they look
I'm way more. Huh?
You said beef up. Keep going. I got another thing.
I was gonna say like ripped dudes. That's usually for glams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, because I'm always gonna be way more terrified of a dude like Brian, our buddy Brian, Drew's best friend Brian. I'm always going to be way more scared of him than someone who is like your typical shredded. Because like in my mind, I'm like, that guy's shredded because he wants to look good. Brian's a big ass country motherfucker that will fuck you up.
Fair enough. But on the beefy note, that's another thing I thought of. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Like you said, NFL players, right? Every now and then, NFL linemen will talk about their diet. They'll put out their diet, their daily diet, whatnot, and things like that. And they're like, this is what I have to eat just to maintain the size I need to be able to survive in the NFL, which is true. And these guys are like 300-something pounds. Well, like, that's the other part. Back then
they were definitely small.
They didn't have access to that kind of food. Like, they didn't have refined sugars and candy either, but they also had to hunt to live. They could not eat the amount of calories it would take to be this hulking berserker. Most of them couldn't, right?
Most of them.
But the king would probably make sure his number one murderer is kept in, fucking minks and squirrels and whatnot.
Calorie wise, they drank a lot of beer. You know, I know the protein is like an issue. But like
it was low
calorie wise, they definitely got it in with alcohol.
They get in these long boats and go across the Arctic Sea and shit for weeks and months at a time. It's like you're not meeting your macros on the fucking Arctic Sea. You know what I'm saying?
What about the fish?
That's got to fuck with your gains.
What about fish? Isn't fish a good protein?
I'm sure. Yeah, it's a great protein. Yeah,
but I do think they were all. But they're all short too. I think they required less calorie. But I absolutely think they all weighed 150 pounds.
Yeah. Right.
Other than like
they're
one
not
or
as
two.
fucking big as they are in the movie.
Other than like one or two dudes. I think there were one or two dudes who were bigger. The big guys.
I mean, Lincoln was considered a giant at like what, 6'2" or 6'3"?
I think he was like 6'5".
I think
Lincoln.
he was 6'5".
Yeah. Well, and that's
Either
crazy,
way,
dude. That's a tall motherfucker right
like
now.
a 6'5" person is still tall nowadays, but it's not unheard of.
Right. Yeah. My buddy Chris Key, 6'5".
That's right.
My buddy James Baines, 6'5". Got 2 6'5"
and
buddies.
Fucking big.
Some dude. Yeah, he's huge. Right? See? Yeah. So that's like, they probably were all short. They were shorter and smaller generally, but they still would have every 100 dudes or something, some big elephant child would be born to a sturdy woman, right? And then grow up to be like, like a James Bain type of motherfucker.
Well,
James is just a big fucking dude. Now, he's a modern day human.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, isn't it like the Greek god physique sort of what bodybuilders? I mean, it's Mr. Universe.
For sure.
Don't they use like a Zeus?
It was Mr. Olympia before that.
That's what I'm saying, which Olympia is where the Greek... I think that those paintings had them pretty fucking jacked. First of all, Greeks are big people. You know, back when they were like a more.
Why weren't they all hairy? I mean, ain't Greeks hairy?
I don't think
Aren't
it's the jacked thing specifically. It's that there are certain muscles they wouldn't have known to work out. Like we all have like when a dude goes on and he's playing in the movie.
What's that? I just don't know what you guys mean by known to work out. Like they know they have muscles.
They do know they have muscles, but what I'm saying is like nowadays, like when Robbie's teaching me curls and stuff, like there's new ways to do curls because it's like this actually works out this part of your muscle and stuff. These dudes weren't doing all the technical shit. They were just getting bulky in the one way. So like when you see these dudes playing in a movie, I'm saying that they have certain muscles that we've just now really learned how to work those muscles out. And
I don't agree with that.
These contorted fucking things.
I think it's more.
I think the working out one muscle group it actually got invented during the muscle bound weightlifting craze in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I think the Greek people were working out by like carrying rocks and shit. I think they were engaging all their muscles. Period. Now they had the opposite problem. Maybe they couldn't blow up their biceps because they weren't doing it. But like, I think they were engaging their muscles, man.
Well, I just saw
maybe without like thinking that's what they were doing.
I'm not. Corey is right. There's all these like trendy, wild ass, brand new exercises that have just been discovered and all this shit. But I just saw a video on YouTube the other day of this like PhD in exercise science or whatever, some like learned gentleman who also was jacked. So he was jacked and a doctor.
Pretty hot dude, huh?
So you tend to trust him.
PhD.
And he pretty hot dude. I just got thank you, Drew. I thought you were just saying you like a man with a an active brain and big traps.
It is both.
But anyway, he watched a video of Kumail Nanjiani breaking down his superhero workout routine, right? And he had a trainer for that, right? He was in a Marvel movie. It's his Marvel movie workout. Here's his Marvel movie personal trainer he's got, and here's his routine, and it's wild shit. He's strapping these electrodes to his biceps. He's fucking standing on a plate that vibrates while doing certain moves because every muscle is engaged throughout your whole body because if you're vibrating the whole time, shit like that throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this dude is sitting there going like, yeah, look, I'm not saying he's not getting anything out of that, but like he could also just do regular shit too, and it would work just as well. Like this is all a bunch of gimmicky bullshit that keeps that other guy employed. You know what I mean? You gotta like make it seem like you're doing some shit nobody else knows about, or this is like the cutting edge or whatever.
Yeah.
But most people who know about it are like that fucking. You don't. All you got to do is like deadlift and bench press and a few other things and eat right. My main thing was the amount of calories available, the lack of drugs and sups and all that type of shit. They didn't have none of that.
Especially the Vikings.
Right. So
unless there was just fish jumping into the boat, which I don't know about that, because I've always been like, how do they keep all them men alive, period?
By the way, you said fish jumping into the boat. I keep a list of like things to bring up on here.
You talking about them fish jumping in the boat?
That sometimes I'm high when I have a thought and I write it down, and so I don't know how I thought this was going to start a conversation. It never would have. I'm just going to read it to you.
Okay.
This is one of the ones I wrote down. You just made me think of it. I wrote down, flying fish evolved to escape aquatic predators, and birds be like, yoink.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yoink.
And it's like, it's a funny enough observation. I don't know what I expected you guys to say about that after I brought it up.
I had one of those the other day.
That might be a bit, man.
But yeah, they did, because like people were talking about, I saw a video or something about, you don't realize how far flying fish, they really do, like they soar for a long time. They don't just like boop, 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 boop. They go out, they're out for a while. And people don't realize that. And I saw a video about that. It was wild. And people were like, yeah.
Yoink.
Yeah, it's like that's because they evolved to be able to do that, because if they're being chased in the water by some kind of, predator, they jump out, fly, and they're gone. And then that's when I had the thought, I was like, and that's when a Seahawk is like, yoink, or whatever. And they got to be like, ain't this some shit,
Yeah.
It's just, nature's a bitch.
I've always felt that way. I had a bit about it. Giraffes evolved to get the fruit in the top of the tree, but like in doing so, they have to run from lions on a set of stilts now.
Yeah, and also have the biggest throat, which is what every predator goes for, is the throat. It's like they got the biggest throat.
Well, yeah, but the throat's up there. They can't get to it. They can't if they bite my ankle and I fall for 90 feet.
Right.
Yeah. Because you've got stilts as legs, like you said. I had a note that I wrote the other day. It's kind of different. It said, this is all it said. I was probably drunk. Susan B. Anthony, ... racist? ? And I think where my head was at was that
Susan B.
Like,
shopping.
I don't know. Yeah, but I was like, yo, you don't ever think about it. Like, she's on the fucking coin, like, oh, Susan B. Anthony, women, blah, blah, blah. She's a hero. And I was like, I bet she hated black people.
For sure, dude. You got to just take that for granted back then. Like, the only ones who didn't are famous for not. Do you know what I mean? Like John Brown or whatever. Like, he's famous because it's like, this guy didn't hate black people in the mid-1800s.
Can you believe
He's
it?
world famous for that.
I mean,
he did. Well,
world famous
I know he did a
2016.
bunch of shit. He did a bunch of shit because
violently
of that.
not.
Yeah, I know.
John Brown's ghost is like, dude, I killed people.
Yeah, he was hardcore. He was. I shouldn't diminish John Brown's legacy because
You know how many white people I killed?
He did go hard in the paint, but still, I'm just saying.
But yeah, your videos are really changing the world. I wanted to go back quickly, just make one, I think, very quick point. I'm not saying that in the whatever 200 BC, Camille Nanjiani could have been jacked. Only now can that happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's the
Accurate.
It's the LeBron Jameses. It's the Greek fighters. It's the people in the fucking arena at the actual Olympics that I'm saying. I think they were pretty jacked, most of them.
Right. Yes, but you do agree with me. Like, not. I liked what you said. You were like, I think there were dudes who were ripped and there were dudes who were like strong man.
Yeah.
Right. But not
rarely
both put together,
Almost
which
never.
is what we have in
We get it all the
movies
time
now.
too.
Right. Yeah.
You can make it now. I think there's like
And that's really what I
very
meant.
small percentage of humans who are just like that.
Yeah.
Very small.
Right.
And they don't need much sleep.
Well, it's been
Happy
fun.
9/11.
Happy 9/11, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we
Fucking Andy.
go to TreCrowder.com. Check out my dates. I'm going to be in Austin, Texas this weekend. As we said last weekend, come see me, and then the other night of the weekend, go see Sam Talon, our buddy, because he's in town too.
So jealous.
And it's going to hit, so come see me. Then I got a 5-night, 5-city Ohio run next week, and then a bunch of fun stuff after that. TreCrowder.com. Also pre-order our book, Round Here and Over Yonder, available very, very, very soon. Also on TreCrowder.com.
I'm going to be in San Francisco the last weekend of November, first weekend of December. I'm going to be in Atlanta, Georgia for the Laughing Skull Comedy Festival, October 6th and 7th. And that is all my dates because I am about to have a baby.
Yeah, buddy. Congrats. I'm super excited for you. I'm so glad that our group thread is now Mark's going to be the only one without a kid. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will be at the Lookout Comedy Festival in Chattanooga, Tennessee on October 18th. So go grab those tickets at, I think, lookoutcomedyfestival.com or thecomedycatch.com. Check out Puttin On Airs with me and Trey. Go to parttimefunnyman.com for all my bonus stuff. And the book Round Here and Over Yonder comes out September 19th. So you can pre-order it now, but you're getting close to just being able to order it, which would hit. And if that's all for you guys, then I would like to say thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and Skeews.
That's